What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott, and I have all the information you need in order to tell if this guy is going to regret it and come back to you, how long it takes, why it takes this long. Again, all the questions you want to know, okay? So stay tuned. You'll know everything you need to know at the end of the video. Now, jumping right into this. I made a video on this before, so a lot of this is going to be redundant and regurgitated. I apologize, but I do want to add this little caveat to it because I do think it's important. Now, for all the people who don't want to watch the entire video and find out why this is the case, a guy usually regrets it 1 to 3 months. And I'm going to go over why there's that range and what happens or why he decides to come back 4, 5, 6, 7 months later. What does it all mean? So, in my other video, I talked about what I call the 4-step process of a man pulling away and then regretting it. What does it look like? Why does it go through this process? So, the first step, or the first stage, I guess, is what I call the initial mindset, which is there is a reason, there has to be a reason why he pulls away. A guy just doesn't pull away to pull away. There has to be a reason. And that reason is usually the narrative that's in his head. And this narrative is created by multiple things. I call it like evidence-based. It's all the things you guys have done, all the things you guys have said, the ups, the downs, the pros, the cons, the fights, the good times, all that piled up in his head. And he makes the final decision with all that saying, hey, you know what? I can't do this. Or, hey, I'm going to fight for it. Whatever it is. But he feels it is more advantageous for him to pull away for whatever reason, the reason in his head from all the stuff he gathered, okay, it is more advantageous or beneficial for him to pull away than to keep it going, okay? So now that happened, he has to go to the second stage. This is where you have to live that out. A guy has to know if he's going to regret his decision or if he made the right decision. Now, he feels like he did, but again, he's not going to sit there and worry about it the whole time. He has to go on and live his life. So he's going to see what it is like without you and live that out. Now, this is like the grass is greener on the other side type of thing. He's going to, if you were talking to him or dating him and let's say you were on his ass about shit, let's say he didn't have any freedom, let's say he spent a lot of time with you, let's say you guys fought a lot, whatever it is, he's going to now exercise his freedom. He's going to now fill those gaps that he used to spend with you with somebody else or going out. He's going to feel some type of relief now that he doesn't have to answer to you or the fighting isn't there or maybe he was leading you on, whatever. He's going to live it out. Then after that, as you can see, by the way, this is like a very natural progression on how things unfold. After that, a guy goes into stage 3 where he actually I guess has this comparison, the pros and cons, okay? Because now he knows what it's like with you, and he knows what it's like without you. And again, humans fear regret. Regret is self-inflicted. And guys will always get to this stage. They will always get to this stage. Whether he regrets it or not, it will come to this. He will sit there, and he will wonder, did I make the right decision? Okay? And what's he going to base that off of? Evidence. Evidence what it's like with you and all the pros and cons, and the evidence without you in his life, all the pros and cons. Now, the pros can be, hey, man, I'm much happier. A con can be, man, I miss her. I haven't had sex in a while. She was great in bed. That's a pro. But she's amazing. I'm jealous. She's talking to other guys now. You see it, right? So once that happens, then the initial decision, the stage 4 comes up, which is, okay, based on that information I gathered, do I regret it? Now, here's the problem that a lot of women, or the mistake a lot of women fall for. There is a difference between what I call the regret and the cost. And what that initially means is a guy can regret losing you. And a lot of the times the guy might, right? He might regret losing you but it's still not worth the cost. It's still not worth the cost of what would happen if he came back. So let me give you an example of this. An example would be, yeah, I mean, I fucking regret it because she's an amazing girl. I know she's a good girl. She means well. She's this, she's that, she's hot, she's all these things, right? All assets. But the cost is, let's say, I'm just making up a scenario or situation or example. She's all these great things, but we always fight. We always fight, man. We always fight, and I can't do it anymore. That's what the initial reason why I left. I just can't do it anymore, right? And then he doesn't come back around. Another one would be, even if he pulls away as a friends with benefits, it doesn't always have to be a relationship type of thing. Even if he pulls away as a friends with benefits, it can be something very superficial like, okay, I miss getting in bed with her. I miss the physical aspect. She was a cool chick for the most part. She was this, she was that, she was all these great things. But then the cost would be, well, as much as I miss her and maybe regret the decision, it's not worth going back and leading her on and going through all this bullshit again because maybe I'm still an emotionally unavailable guy who can't give her a relationship, right? So that stuff usually goes through a guy's head. So as you can tell now, that whole process usually takes I think that's a really fast, I mean, it's really fast, even though, I don't know, that's, yeah. And 3 months, 1 to 3 months. And the reason it doesn't go faster than 1 month, usually if it does, I think you're talking to an emotionally unavailable guy who doesn't want a relationship. He's kind of playing you and he knows he can play you and dangle that carrot in front of you. But the reason it doesn't usually go faster than a month is he has to live that first and second stage out. He has to know what he just broke up with you or separated or pulled away or whatever it is. The next day he's not going to come back around. Like that's just weird. He made the decision based on the mindset he's in. So think of it as like he's in a frame of like a mind frame or set, whatever. And it's not like, oh, I like you, now I hate you, now I like you, now I hate you. That's not what's going on. And then on top of that, of course, he has to live it out a bit. So it's not going to be really sooner than a month, even though a month's fast. And I would say 3 months on average is the general timeline on when he regrets it and he might be blowing your shit back up and anything in between. Now, when he does it after 3 months, this is just my opinion. When he does it after 3 months, let's say 6 months later, I think he's just around for the assets. 2 reasons why. I think it's easier to have a desire creep up in you, whether it's sexual or curiosity or something like that, and the guy reaches out, I think to kind of get his needs met, and then the same thing is going to happen. I think that's much more likely than him sitting back and waking up one day realizing he made a mistake. And the reason for that is attraction is very momentum based, ladies. Very momentum based. You have to go on your dates. There has to be consistency. There has to be growth. There has to be progression. There has to be laughing, banter, openness, vulnerability, like whatever. It has to progress. You cannot talk to a guy, have a good time with them, and then go 6 months without talking, and then he's not going to wake up and realize, oh man, like, well, I was a fucking idiot. Let me get back together and get a relationship with her. I think that's too far-fetched. There's a saying, if you hear hooves, I always say this, or I used to at least, for all the old school watchers, viewers out there. If you hear hooves, think horses, not zebras, meaning, if you hear hooves, it's not the most elaborate thing. There's no reason for a zebra to be in your backyard. A horse either, but a horse is more likely. This is kind of the same thing when you're talking to a dude and you haven't talked to a dude 6 months and he comes back around. It's much more likely, much more logical, much more obvious, in my opinion, that he's coming around for the benefits than than a relationship. That's a big stretch for a guy who, let's say, was pulling away, playing you, inconsistent, taking you for granted, emotionally unavailable, saying he didn't want a relationship. Right? Then you don't talk for 6 months, and then all of a sudden he wants one. No, that doesn't happen, ladies. The reason I also think it's because, the benefits, he comes back around for the benefits, is you're what I call pre-qualified. He's coming back around because he knows he can get you, especially if he's the one who's pulling away and you were very hopeful and and wanting a relationship, and you guys been through the whole dance together already, you know, you hung out, had fun, hooked up, got to know each other, been on multiple dates, it's just much easier to come back around to you than to talk some other random, go through all that bullshit, lead her on, and do the same thing. So with that being said, ladies, if you want to work with me to avoid these type of guys and get in a relationship long term, please message me on Instagram, Elliot Scott Dating, or ElliotScottServices@gmail.com. Whatever, you just message me somewhere and say you're interested in coaching. I have a 3-month program where I can get you in a relationship. Ladies, I can get you in a relationship. I'm so confident that if I don't, I'll give you another 3 months for free. Okay, so if you're interested, make sure to reach out to me on Instagram. I love you, ladies. Take care and peace.